a little bit more. Sorry, my tripod broke the other day, so I'm having to like make do here. Get Caleb in there too. Ah, roar! Get up their table. So I do apologize for using the front-facing camera, which honestly, guys, isn't nearly as good. Give a few minutes for people to actually show up in here. Get Caleb in here too. He's letting Discord know we're doing this. I haven't been live in a long time. I'll say that. What's going on, Adam? Got two of you in here now. You're probably one of them, aren't you?
I am, because I'm copying the link.
We got post. Two. Yay! What's going on, Anna? I'll give you a call tomorrow. I got the other stuff for you. Quick, yeah, Mr. Guaps, Monty. Good to see you all. The Python portal. What's up? So I want to cover a few things, and we'll cover some things on Patreon, maybe a few things going on in my personal life. We'll get into on there because, hey man, we still been posting shit all the time. I promise. Welcome, Kat. The way Kurt Hamilton laughed, he did good. Don't fire me yet, though. Damn, what's going on from London? And so we'll talk about awesome Orion's arachnids. That's awesome. It is sad, and it's not going to be sad, Dallas. And I'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll get into that. So I don't want it to be sad, right? I don't want it. Sadness is not. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to kick you out of there. It's a little bit weird for us. We have to have the screen bent. It's a little foldy phone so I can stand up. I need to get a new tripod piece, and that's why probably haven't done a live, but we need to do one. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit today about what BRIAN BARCYK has meant to us, and if some of you want to toss out a comment about what he's meant to you, we're gonna share that as well. That's awesome. Bat wings are cool. We'll go from there. I guess we got one going first. Sorry, it says, love to Brian. Brian is ball pythons. He's Steven Spielberg in the ball python world. He's an awesome human. That is definitely true. Then when we go to Patreon, I'm going to share with you a couple things that have happened in my personal life recently. Not all are good, to be blunt. And one of them is really good. One of them is not so good. So we'll get to that in the Patreon, folks. But they get kind of more of the personal side of what's going on with me. And we'll cover that there. So I guess the best way to start this is to tell you kind of why we're doing this. And exactly, ballers and crawlers, he is what got me into the hobby and what I believe. And I'm going to say what I believe, not what I know, because I don't know anything anybody else does. Okay, like I don't have any secret knowledge. I can tell you I shot the man a text message, but he's got a lot going on right now, and it wasn't to pry. And if you did share something, I wouldn't share here anyway, because that'd be horseshit of me to do. I would never do that. But for the few times I actually haven't heard anything back, but I know why that is, and it's fine. So somebody said he helped pioneer snakes for all. Brian means a lot to all of us. Look forward to his videos, praying for him and his family. And I've been watching Venom Hunters, thinking about Brian. And I can't believe Brian's at his end game stage of life. Somebody says I've never watched Brian, to be honest. I hope he recovers. So the thing is, first of all, I know there's been some rumors out there. My belief is he's still kicking, man. I think he is, and I don't think Brian's gonna ever stop trying to kick. I don't think that's really in his nature, But the truth is, no matter when the day comes, it comes for all of us, right? One day we all meet our maker, or if you're an atheist, I guess the lights just turn off. I don't know. But one day we all have to face that, right? One day. And Jolene, sorry, I'm going to start singing. And it would appear, based on some of the things on Instagram, that Brian's day may very well be getting nearer. And that was always a concern when this diagnosis came, right? And man, that guy don't want to fight the way he did. More props to him. And I know he said he's on the waiting list for a trial he's still hoping to get into and whatnot. I get it. Adam says he's really wanting to push to buy one of the snakes before he goes as some kind of weird, memorial thing, I guess.
I don't think that's weird.
I don't think it's weird either.
Because I had the same, the other day.
Well, yeah, go ahead. I'll tell you what happened to me the other day.
Because, I didn't want something that was going to be bred because, when you it kind of gets weird because when you start breeding things, there comes a point where that snake's doesn't really serve a purpose anymore, and I didn't want that. So I was looking at some things that would make good pets or fun that I could make a really nice display and really memorialize it. And but I opted not to because I felt like I was also doing an injustice to that animal for its sole purpose being to be a memorial when, you know, I have memories of Brian and videos and stuff like that I would cherish more.
So before we get into a whole bunch more comments, and I do want to hear what you guys have to say, let me just have a moment here. There are snakes alive in my yard due to Brian. Now that is something I'm sure he'd love to hear. Let me get a few things off of my heart, and then I want to hear from you guys. So first of all, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that me and Brian are best friends. Like, we know each other. We've met. I remember it more, I'm sure, than he probably does. We've exchanged text messages multiple times. He's always been very nice, very cordial, invited me up there. It's how I never make the trip. He is who you see on camera. He truly is that excitable of a person when it comes to animals and things like that. For me, Brian was a huge motivator, right? When I was working as a cop, I'd come home from lunch and I would watch Snake Bites TV, right? And that was one of the things that was presented in a way, and I know looking back, some of that people are saying, well, some of that was cringy. I get it, but I don't even worry about that right now. It was one of the things that gave me the confidence in seeing somebody with that much happiness and passion and ability and the ability to teach and learn, and gave me the confidence of what I was doing and helped me to move forward in some lower points than when I was first starting. And I can tell you, beyond a doubt, I don't think Olympus Reptiles exist without BRIAN Barcyzk. I just don't think it does. I don't think I have any of this without him, because I needed that motivation at some times. You know, I needed that belief. And man, that guy he was really good at giving that to you, right? He's really good at that. So I owe a lot to him, and I'm a big believer in. I've gone to enough funerals that we all want to sit around and talk about those people that were important to us in some way, shape, or form, and we all want to do it when they're gone. Well, fuck that. Let's do it when they're around. Let's take the moment when they're around to tell them the impact and meaning that they've had in our lives, right? So that impact and meaning for me, and it really got me thinking, is because the other day a guy named Eric, who's a friend of mine from Blast from the Past back in the reptile hobby, he shot me a Facebook message, right? That said, hey man, get ready to cry or something like that, or and it was this chunk of video, and I remembered I need to watch the whole thing. I remember he was looking for something that he'd done with Brian as all this was busting out, and it was a video that I think it was on Brian's film that had me and Colin Cudney in it in Chicago, I think, Tinley, and we'd taken a really neat snake that Colin had produced and was showing it to Brian, and you know, I'm gonna tell you, the camera's not on, right? We take the snake out, like, hey man, we just wanted to show you this because you've inspired both of us, blah 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 blah, and his face lit up, just like everybody's like, oh, he's faking all that. It's bullshit. He ain't faking. His face lit up, and that was when I knew that man is what you see on camera. Sometimes at our lowest points we have to force it. Sometimes I have to force it, guys. We all do, right? But that excitement and that love and that passion that you see is not forced. That is real. That is who he is. Because I saw it when the camera was off, you know. And then it's like, oh, can we film this? Can I film this and show it? Hell yeah, man, bro. That's why we're over here. Like, so, you know. And for me, that was big because, you know, I wouldn't say, like, if you guys knew Colin, I wouldn't say, I watched Colin before I started too a little bit when he was a little kid. I wouldn't say really it was an inspiration to me because, you know, but it also said, if this 12-year-old can do this, I can fucking do it. And then had no clue he was in Kansas. We ended up working together and all that. But Colin was a colleague and a friend. And you were even closer to Colin than I was by far. And we lost Colin, god damn, what's it been?
2 years.
2 years now.
It's coming up on 3.
You know, so I see this post come in, And there's a guy that I worked with a lot and respected that I lost. And there's a guy who was one of those mentors from afar, a guy that was able to really mentor and give you belief in yourself, even though you didn't really get to be near him or know him right there, right? From afar. And I know that the chances are I'm going to be losing him in the very near future. And I don't know a better way to say thank you. And I don't know a better way to say that, you were important to me and you meant something to me than to do it publicly, right? It's one thing to do something in private, and it's another thing to have the balls to go out in public and say something like this when it opens you up to certain ridicules and whatever if people wanted to do that. And when it comes to Brian, we've always been very publicly supportive, even when he was going through some trials that, quite honestly, to this day, I still don't think he deserved to go through. But, we all have them, right? And so this is my way of, well, he's still here and still breathing. I don't know what he gets a chance to see or what the people close to him get a chance to see, to say that, man, I saw you and you touched my life. Like, to him, I'm sure I'm just a guy he talked to once and text him every now and then. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a fucking pee on nobody, right? He probably wouldn't know my face or know my name, and that's okay. But he touched me in my life, in my family. And it extends beyond just having animals. This is something now that I share with my family, my little kids in my family, not my children. I don't have children that I know of that I've been sued for yet. But like my nieces and nephews who are here that are now into this, that have animals because I've got them for them, that I would have never done had it not been for him. So this is my thank you. That's what this is. And this is my thank you and my man, congratulations on a life well lived. And I hope it continues to go. But even if it doesn't, like even if this is the end stages of get your shit together and get it right, know you made an impact in the world. And you made an impact that will reverberate, because I've taken that impact you made on me, and I hope I've made it on others. Probably not to the same level or extent, nowhere near that. I'm not delusional, right? But made an impact on others, and some of those will make an impact on others, man. And that is the truth of this. So that's kind of what I came on to really just say. There's times that I watched that man cry and it was real. There's times I watched that man be excited and it was real. Just all those things. There was times I was inspired. We wanted to really make our first scaleless babies, which we did while he was still alive, right? And just to kind of say, hey, like we got to share this experience 5 years later. I got to share that same thing that you had. And I'm glad we got to do that. If I feel guilty about it, it's never making it up there. I probably should have carved the time and done that, but it is what it is, I guess. Life got in the way. Mm-hmm. Got busy, So what do you got? Then we'll get through some comments. So I'm not reading a bunch. I could not read the comments and get my thoughts out. I needed that train to not be broken for just a few guys, and we'll get to some of those, I promise.
So my it's different from me. When I grew up watching, I hadn't even heard of snake bites at the time. I didn't watch a lot of YouTube at the time. The only time I really watched YouTube is there was a channel, Underground Reptiles used to have a weekly show called 20 Minutes Underground, and that's what I would watch that, and I'd watch Zabumafu and Steve Irwin. And then by the time I was about 12, 13, I had started volunteering at the zoo at the time, And a lot of zoos guys aren't super fond of morphs.
No.
So the ball python hobby, I wasn't super interested in because I didn't really think normals looked all that great to me at the time. And so I really wasn't into it. So I never really got into the whole BRIAN BARCYK thing. It was, and I did later as I moved up here and as I got a little older and realized that not all zoos are correct on the whole morph subject. And but really, where my inspiration from Brian came from was started really heavy when he did his first Zoo 1.0, the reptile zoo, because I have always been educating people. Yeah, Zoo was pretty great in the day. Educating people is a huge part of what I like to do. It's what I did as a zookeeper for quite a bit and dedicated a lot of time to. So education and spreading joy and teaching those kids and bringing up the next generation, quote unquote, is always something that's really driven me. And so watching that with Brian, and then even recently within the last 8 months or 9 months, however long since he first announced his cancer, there was a Facebook group started that says it was like "Stay Strong, BRIAN BARCYK," and watching the people post how they've inspired him really inspired me that, like, I will always breed ball pythons and stuff like that, but I want to have some things where I do education, whether I go to a school or a birthday party or something like that, because seeing the joy that Brian had teaching those kids and the joy those kids had learning, like, that was super inspiring. So it is one of those things where I wish that I had found Brian sooner or been inspired by him sooner to really fully appreciate his growth and what all he's done, and be able to, like Matt said, take the time to go up there. It's something I talked about every single year, but I'm like, well, there's always next year. Well, so it's just one of those things.
Till they're eight.
Till they're eight.
Yeah. Till they're eight.
But no, like, and inspiring us to be better keepers in general is it will be a huge hit to the hobby.
It will. It will. And the truth is, anybody, excuse me, anybody that's got something at this level for the most part and has done it in the last 15 or 20 years probably owes BRIAN BARCYK a thank you. Even if they don't like the guy, they don't know. This hobby would not be the size it is without him. Period. Full stop. To think anything different is asinine. That man grew the hobby. That man grew the industry. Whether you like how he did it or not, he did. He did. He made it much more mainstream. Just all the difference in the world. So let's get to a few comments. Yeah. You think you about to choke up? I'm trying to keep that.
I had a fly in my throat.
So we're going to scroll back here a little bit and see what we got. Someone said, this was Tyler, said, Nerd was the first snake channel I ever discovered. And while I love Kevin, Brian just has a different approach and could make anyone fall in love with their scaly friends. That is absolutely true. I love Kevin too. Kevin's a smart guy. Don't always see eye to eye on everything with Kevin. Most of the stuff I do agree with him on, though. Like, everybody who's keeping a certain level, they got certain things that's like we think are a little different. But Brian's got a different personality, right? Let's see. I wish I was able to go meet the man, give him a big thanks and a huge hug. Yeah. I'm with you on that. So Brian is totally at fault for me being in the ball python biz. You and me both, right? I'm just a little boutique star. But if my then 5-year-old daughter had not hit the snake egg video, I would have never been in this beautiful world. He is why I'm doing scaleless right now. He made me love that snake. I had it in me. I've been thinking about him every day at work, and I really hope he's not done. He is a fighter, and that's one thing I know. And yeah, Ballers, I'm with you on that. But the truth of the matter is, at some point, the fight is over, right? At some point, there's nothing left to fight. And I don't want to sound down or sad about that. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here. But that is the truth. There are points points where the fight is over. You take those who you love close to you. You take stock of what life has been, and we may be there. I hope we're not, but I feel that's probably where we're at. So A little late to chat. We have an update on how Brian is doing. I think it got answered in there a little bit later. What we know, we don't know anything extra. And guys, I'll be honest. If somebody texted me today and said, "Hey, this is what happened," I wouldn't share it anyway. Just out of full blown respect. That family, when that time does happen, is going to deserve some time. They're going to deserve to break that news on their own, and they don't need some jackass on YouTube like me doing it for them. And so, and I know nobody's asking for that out of that purpose, but just as far as I know, he's at home. That's like everybody else has said. And I hope that, because I hope while I'm making this, if he spends some time wanting to know what people are saying, this is my chance to say it. So, 2 strokes, Yelp. Like when the first Pied ever came out, I was there to see the prices and how far it came, and the clowns, and him talking about them is why I love him. Yeah, man, he, and here's the thing. You watch him cut a really expensive clutch.
Yeah.
He's excited. You watch him cut a really low-end clutch. He's excited. And that's something I've tried to carry to my business. I'm excited for healthy babies. Sometimes it's hard when you get 5 out of 7 normals and you shouldn't have had any, but we try to do that. So he is a warrior, a loving person, touched the hearts of millions, and is loved by even many more. My kids and I have a reason to bond over because of him. We got the ball pythons and we thank him. So right there is kind of what I'm talking about, man, is that's a family that's got a better closeness now because of the inspiration and things that he's done. That is touching people's lives beyond just showing snakes, right? That's making a difference in your everyday. And he has done that for so many people. That is awesome. That's the kind of shit that I think he needs to know, because I know if I'm about to check out of this world to go on my next adventure, for those that don't know, I ain't afraid to say it. And I don't push my agenda, but because it's not my place, and I believe my agenda is pushed by the way I live, not the things that I say on a camera. But I personally, I believe there's another world past this. I am personally a Christian, and I personally don't think when we die, it's the end. And so if I was about to take my journey to that other time, hearing things like that from folks and knowing that I made that much of a difference in people's lives would mean a lot to me as I'm mentally packing for that journey. So thank you for sharing that with him. And then it says, wow, I can't believe he is leaving us. I grew up watching him educating people and thinking in the wild. That was a reptile on National Geographic. What came first, chicken? I say the chicken. I don't think you have anything you're really adding to this. But hey, thanks for playing. That's always great to show up and post spam stupidity on a video about somebody who's probably going to die. You're awesome. You should probably reevaluate your life there, buddy. Well, I've only watched a few of his ideas, but you guys have been my inspiration since 2018 or 19. I had my first 2 clutches this year, last year. So hopefully the ripple effect continues. Thank you very much, Kat. We appreciate it. I know you've always been there for us. But even if your inspiration comes from us and our inspiration comes from what he's done, that river can't flow if it's dammed up there. So, it all kind of flows together. So it all runs together. And somebody inspired him that started that too. Let's be honest. I don't know if that was Steve Irwin or Jack Hanna or the milkman at home. I don't fucking know who that was, but somebody had to inspire him to do what he's doing too, right? I've always loved reptiles, especially ball pythons. I grew up watching Brian videos. He ignited my passion for these awesome animals. He's inspired to want to work with ball pythons and other reptiles. Absolutely. 100%. And I were just talking about this morning. Let his family have him in these last moments. He's a public figure, but he belongs to them first. Absolutely. Just because you're out in public does not mean that everything, every moment of your life, you owe to public. One thing I learned pretty quick when I started doing this, and it kind of blew up for us a little bit, is by God, I don't ever want to be famous. Not truly famous. It would suck ass. Yeah, it'd be terrible. But yes, his family and him definitely deserve those last moments. He should get to pick how those work. So, a beautiful pain-free place, absolutely, and peace. My wife and I got married at the Reptarium on Halloween. That is awesome. I'm damn sure he remembers you then. He's such an inspiration and the reason why my wife got 2 anacondas from him. Never forget the private tour he gave us around BHP. That is awesome. Grow some balls exotics. Somebody else is Brian dying. I don't know, but it does. From what has been released, it doesn't look well. Doesn't look good. I think I can safely say that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the best I can say with certainty. And yeah, he has cancer, and then the 2 strokes that came with it, and the cancer's inoperable, and it's a bad one, y'all. I mean, it's pancreatic cancer, you know. So I think we've kind of caught up on the comments. I think we're probably going to hop up off of here, and we're going to slide to Patreon. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's been going on with some of our personal lives.
Yeah.
It's been kind of fucked, honestly. It's been a little bit of a rough time around here for, honestly, all of Olympus, I would say.
I think all 3 of us had kind of a shit December.
All 3 of us have had a... Well, my December was great. Mine started with the new year, man.
Yeah.
My 2024 already sucks ass.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'll get better, though.
It will.
All right, guys. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, and I appreciate you letting me share mine. The only thing I'll end with is, man, Brian Barczyk for me was and always will be an inspiration, and I will always have love for him and his family, and for me, he rates right up there with Steve Irwin in my animal journey. Steve Irwin inspired me to be curious as a child, right, and a teenager, and Steve Irwin inspired me to get into some of that. Barczyk inspired me that I could do this at the level I'm doing it and beyond if I so choose. So I thank both those men, and that's all I got, man. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.